Right, so I've just taken in this 2008 Land Rover Discovery 3 and I only gave £900 for it. Now, before you start saying, have I lost my mind, let me tell you why it was so cheap. First, obviously the suspension. It is quite clear this car is a suspension fault. It does sag more on this near side front here, offside front, sorry. But getting the car, the suspension goes up and down, no problem. It does say it has a fault, obviously in the dash, but once you leave the car overnight, it just drops. So that's the first fault. Now it does have an engine light in the vehicle, and we're going to get that plugged in. We'll have a look and see what the fault is. And thirdly, this vehicle has not had an MOT since September 2025. Now looking through the MOT, you know, these suffer bad with corrosion. Now it does say it has some corrosion on the rear, and the fuel tank straps are heavily corroded as well. So I have had a quick look under there and it does look a little bit crispy. So we just need to have a look. So this could be an absolute bargain, or one of them worst cheap 4x4 ideas I've had in a while. So the thing is, I didn't just take this in for no reason. I'm thinking this Discovery could actually do two jobs for me. First, let's have a bit of fun. First, we have Salisbury Plains, like 3 fields away from here. So if I could take my kids down there, get it all muddied up, through some puddles, over little hills and rocks, you know, fantastic. It is a proper old school Land Rover, and if we can have a bit of fun in this, fantastic. Secondly, I'm thinking something a bit more practical. I'm forever relying on other people for lifts. Towing, collecting vehicles, or me just catching trains all up and down the country. So the idea of having a cheap tow vehicle sat here actually makes a lot of sense. But before I get ahead of myself, we need to work out one thing. Have I bought a usable cheap 4x4, or is this a complete money pit? So in this video, we're going to have a proper look around it. We're going to go through the faults, we'll see what condition it's really in, and work out where to go from here. Because at £900, you already know there's going to be a catch. Probably more than one. So let's have a look. So, first impressions of this vehicle is actually really good. So apart from the faults that we've just said, you know, the bodywork is actually really nice. You know, there's no major dents, there's no major scuffs. And, you know, I think it's been well looked after. Now, the last owners owned it since 2011. It's only had 2 previous owners. It's just got to a point where they don't use it and it's just sat around. Now, the history I've got for it is phenomenal. I think there was nearly 20 services. But I do have, well, it had a cam belt and water pump back at 73,000 miles. Now it's done it's just tipped 140,000 miles. But first impressions of this vehicle outside is actually quite impressive. You know, we've got a bit of lack of paint here, but if I keep this vehicle, I'll probably upgrade that to the Disco 4. You know, there's some modifications I'd like to do to it, but first I just need to make sure that the car's roadworthy and safe. It does obviously have a bit of a rust spot there, but you know what, my friend Ross at Mint Cars, he has a Sport, and he's got some fancy trick lights on the top of there that look quite smart. So, you know, I might just sand that down, prime it, and then stick some lights on it. But I don't want to go and spend fortunes on this until we know it's, you know, it's going to be mechanically fine. I can sort the faults on it, and it's going to be a good, fun and tow vehicle. Now, obviously, I think it's going to need some tyres, and the wheels are quite, you know, flaky and corroded. I'd probably keep these, and instead of just spending some wheels, I'll get some grabbers on it. But, you know, first impressions of this vehicle is quite impressive. It's got a tow bar on it, and then obviously just looking at the rear, it is looking a bit crusty underneath. You know, the wheel's gone. So it is a question, when I get it up on the ramp, what we're going to do. But first impressions of the vehicle all the way around is I'm quite happy. Now for 140,000 miles, you know, it's actually really, really nice. did find this package in the car, and I'm going to get back to that in a second. You know, it just does not look like it's had a hard day in its life. I mean, the interior's nice. All the seats are lovely. I've not cleaned this. I've not touched this vehicle yet. But I'm just thinking, you know, for the second job and a bit of a tow vehicle, it's actually a nice place to be. So it's an SE model. You know, it's got the sat nav, it's got the Harman Kardon stereo, no sunroof. But it's got 7 seats. If I wanted to collect a load of vehicles with a tow bar as well, I've got plenty of people that'll come. And the seats are all up. You know, I don't think I'll be using this, but everything's here. You know, it is really, really nice. So, in terms of condition inside and out, it is actually in really good condition. I want to give this a good clean, but before I go into it and spend any time, I don't want to do that. Look at this seat. 140,000 miles. So, when we start the car, we've got some system checks. And the first one, suspension access height selected, low coolant level. Start the car. So it's got a park brake fault. Obviously we can see the engine light there. And that's it. But when I select all the suspension, no problem. It goes to normal height. A little bit of creaking, but it does seem to work. And then I go to off-road height, and the vehicle's raising no problem at all. And obviously it comes in suspension fault there. And as you can see, the vehicle has risen at the back. It's still a little bit low at the front. And then as you can see here, it's low in the front both ends really, but it does go up eventually, so we will have a look at that. So what we're going to do now is obviously just get this plugged in. We'll see what that fault is, and then we'll take it from there. So let's get this plugged in first. Let's see what this engine light is, because if I can take it somewhere and find out what this engine light is, just going to look through this scanner now. We're going to search the vehicle. So it brings up the Land Rover Discovery 3, 2008. What we do is automatically search. Now, I don't have the best equipment in the world, but for what I need it for, you know, to search error codes, reset service lights, you know, the odd DPF regen, you know, it's good enough for me. Because one, I am not a mechanic for 1 second. So, right, what we're going to do is obviously just going to go into the status report. System report status, yes. So now what this is going to do, obviously we can see a few faults already. So there's probably going to be quite a few faults in this, but the main thing I want to look at is obviously just what this engine light is. Now I did road test the car, and it drove fine. I went through the gears, didn't feel like any loss of power. But as you can see, it's just going through all the faults here. But if I can get this to have a bit of fun and using a towing vehicle, I don't care about all the other faults. I just want to, you know, you've seen how clean it is inside and out. So I think it's going to be a good vehicle. Right, so we do have one P code, so it means powertrain. Exhaust gas regulation, so P045D00. Right. That is I'm sure that is an EGR problem. Now I said there was this in the car, and funny enough, the customer must have known about this because I've actually got an EGR blanking plate kit that was already in the car. So if that is an easy fix, we'll have a look at that. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do, so what we need to do with this vehicle, I want to take it down, get an MOT, and you know, see what actual faults, see if it's going to pass an MOT, and then see how much we've got to spend on it. And obviously that's going to be the next video. But what I might do first is, I've got a guy that hopefully can blank this off. I'm going to give him a call in a minute, see if we can get it booked in and get the EGR map chart. Now these are quite common on this, I think everybody does it. But if we can get that light out on the car, I'm going to be very, very happy. Let's quickly look at the other codes. I think the P0489 is going to be similar. So it's lost communication with parking brake, so at least it's not a transmission fault. We know there's a handbrake fault with it. Instrument cluster, so it's lost communication with parking brake, brake level, so it's all to do with the parking brake. Everything's parking brake. Lost communication with parking brake. Do we need a parking brake if it's automatic? Well, it's not on, we'll have a look. But everything else, seat height, seat monitor, front defrost, not too bothered about that. Front air blend stepper actuator. What's that for? So that's for parking brake again. So there's no faults for suspension, which is strange. What I'm going to do is just clear codes and see if the code's clear. Let's see if the engine light goes. So I can still see the engine light on the car. Obviously, if that fault obviously just pops back up, I'm going to go down the road and the fault's going to pop back up, isn't it? Of course it is. So we'll see what fault's clear and see what obviously is a permanent fault. So everything has cleared, really. So what we need to do, start with it. So the engine light has gone out. Good job I took a video of this. Obviously we've still got the parking brake fault that's on here. Driver's door, but the engine has gone out, the engine light has gone out. So do need to get that engine light back on. So I am going to have to take it down the road. Just looking at the suspension is flashing here. I just want to make sure it goes up again, because obviously I've had the car where it does go up a lot better. There we go, it's lifting at the front now. I think it already lifted at the front, but... So I think the car already lifted at the front. There we go. So the suspension has gone up. On both sides. Right, I need to get this EGR light back on. Obviously I do need to write these codes out, so let me get this obviously done. The engine sounds alright. I mean, it doesn't sound bad at all. Let's have a quick look. Now, in terms of engine, it sounds perfect. I mean, there's no knocks, no bangs. It did say coolant's low, and it's not horrendous. It is below the light, so I might just obviously fill that up quickly before I take it to the garage. I'm really hoping this is going to be a good truck, but obviously we'll see. Story ends very quickly on this car. As much as it looks nice on the bodywork for its age, the interior is immaculate for its age. The history is obviously phenomenal. Underneath the car is totally rotten. I mean, it's probably good enough for Salisbury Plains up the road, but it's definitely not going to be roadworthy, and it's not going to be used as a tow vehicle at all. So there's going to be no video 2, there's going to be no video 3, there's going to be no series on this vehicle, so no upgrades, no mechanical reports. I'm going to put some images up of the underneath the vehicle and you'll see why. So that's the end of that one.